First contact. The quantum array hummed beneath Dr. Sarah Chen's fingertips as she adjusted the final calibrations. After 3 years of scanning deep space for signs of intelligent life, the massive dish array hidden in the Atacama Desert had picked up something unprecedented, a signal that didn't match any known natural phenomenon. "Dr. Chen, you need to see this," Marcus, her lead signal analyst, called from his station. His voice carried the kind of careful control that meant either breakthrough or disaster. Sarah crossed the control room in quick strides, her eyes already fixed on the streaming data across his monitors. The pattern was unlike anything they'd seen before, a complex series of mathematical sequences that couldn't possibly be random. "How long has it been broadcasting?" she asked, leaning closer to study the wavelength patterns. "That's the thing," Marcus said, pulling up a comparison chart. "According to these readings, this signal has been active for at least 10,000 years. It's not degrading. If anything, it's getting stronger." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The implications were staggering. "An automated beacon," she whispered. "Someone put this here deliberately, knowing someone would eventually find it." The next 48 hours became a blur of activity. As head of the Deep Space Research Initiative, Sarah had protocols to follow for potential first contact scenarios, but none of them had really expected to use them. Her team worked around the clock, analyzing the signal from every possible angle. It was Sarah who first noticed the pattern within the pattern, a simple binary sequence hidden beneath the more complex mathematical formulas. "It's an invitation," she announced to her bleary-eyed team on the morning of the third day. "These coordinates, they're not showing us where the signal comes from. They're showing us where to go." The coordinates pointed to a location just beyond Saturn's orbit, close enough to reach with current technology, far enough to prove they could make the journey. The message was clear: prove you can get there, and we'll talk. When Sarah presented her findings to the United Earth Council, she expected resistance. Instead, she found determination. Humanity had been preparing for this moment longer than anyone realized. Within months, the UES Endeavour was ready for launch with Sarah and a hand-picked crew of 12 aboard. The journey to the coordinates took 3 months. As they approached the designated location, Sarah stood on the observation deck, watching the stars. They'd found nothing yet. No alien ship, no space station, nothing but empty space. "Dr. Chen," the ship's AI announced, "I'm detecting an energy signature directly ahead. It's opening." Before their eyes, space itself seemed to fold, revealing a massive structure that hadn't been there moments before. The design was elegant, alien, and unmistakably artificial. As they watched, a beam of light swept over their ship, scanning them. "Interesting approach." A voice suddenly filled their communications channel, speaking perfect English. "Most species attempt to decrypt the entire message before proceeding. You recognized the essential pattern and acted. Efficient." Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen of the United Earth Ship Endeavour. We come seeking peaceful contact." "We know who you are, Dr. Chen. We have been watching humanity's progress for some time. Your species has shown remarkable potential, particularly in your ability to find elegant solutions to complex problems. The beacon was designed to test this quality. Most species take centuries to notice the binary sequence beneath the mathematical noise." The voice belonged to Qatar, their first contact specialist from the Meridian Alliance, a coalition of spacefaring species that had been guiding the development of younger civilizations for millennia. As Qatar explained their role and history, Sarah couldn't help but notice something odd in their tone when discussing humanity's potential. It wasn't until later, during a private conversation, that Qatar revealed the truth. "Your species concerns some members of the Alliance," they admitted. "Most civilizations we encounter develop their technologies in a predictable sequence. Humanity innovates erratically. You solve problems in ways we never considered. Some find this threatening." Sarah smiled. "That's precisely why we needed to come out here. Different perspectives make us all stronger." Qatar's expression, or what passed for it on their crystalline features, shifted to what Sarah was learning to recognize as amusement. Perhaps. But be careful, Dr. Chen. Not everyone in the Alliance shares your view. Some believe that unpredictable elements should be contained. As Sarah looked out at the vast structure before them, she realized this wasn't just first contact. It was humanity's first test on a galactic stage. And based on Qatar's warning, it wouldn't be their last. The Endeavor's crew spent the next week learning about their place in a much larger community than they'd imagined. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that beneath the diplomatic exchanges and technological sharing, something darker was brewing. She'd caught glimpses of tension among their hosts, subtle disagreements about humanity's presence. During one of their cultural exchange sessions, Tar shared something that made everything click. The Alliance has encountered 47 species at your level of development. Of those, 39 followed our suggested development path. 5 suffered unfortunate accidents before reaching full membership. The remaining 3. They paused meaningfully. The remaining 3 became problems that needed to be solved. The message was clear. Humanity's uniqueness could be either an asset or a liability. Their future in the galactic community would depend on how they handled the challenges ahead. As they prepared to return to Earth with their remarkable news, Sarah made 2 decisions. First, she would ensure humanity approached this new relationship with both optimism and caution. Second, she would keep a very close eye on those members of the Alliance who seemed most concerned about human unpredictability. What neither she nor anyone else realized was that humanity's greatest test wasn't finding the beacon or making first contact. It was what would happen when those who feared human potential decided to take action. The Endeavor began its journey home, carrying not just the promise of a broader universe, but also the first whispers of a storm that would test humanity's place among the stars. The hidden threat. 6 months after Earth's first contact with the Meridian Alliance, Dr. Sarah Chen found herself in an uncomfortable position. As humanity's chief liaison to the Alliance, she was privy to both the wonders and worries of galactic civilization. Tonight, those worries were keeping her awake in her office at the newly established Terran Diplomatic Center in Geneva. The data doesn't lie, Tar said, their crystalline form casting prismatic patterns across Sarah's desk. 3 promising species, all experiencing catastrophic accidents within the past century, all shortly after demonstrating significant technological innovations. Sarah studied the holographic displays floating between them. The pattern was undeniable. The Nexeri, whose revolutionary approach to quantum computing had earned them recognition among Alliance scientists, lost their homeworld to a mysterious core destabilization. The Veth, pioneers in biotechnology, suffered a devastating plague that their advanced medical knowledge somehow failed to counter. The Isolari, who had developed unique energy manipulation techniques, vanished in what the Alliance officially termed a tragic miscalculation in their stellar engineering projects. And now, Sarah said, pulling up recent reports from Earth's outposts, we've had 3 equipment malfunctions at our new research facilities in the past month alone. She gestured to the incident reports, all at facilities working on integrating human innovation with Alliance technology. Tar's crystalline surface rippled, their species equivalent of a troubled frown. The Council dismisses these as unfortunate coincidences. They suggest that younger species often struggle to properly implement advanced technologies. Convenient explanation, Sarah muttered, standing to pace the room. Through her office window, she could see the gleaming spires of the Alliance embassy, its architecture an impossible blend of organic curves and geometric precision, especially since the only facilities affected were those making significant breakthroughs. A soft chime interrupted them. Sarah's quantum-secured channel activating. Marcus's face appeared on the screen, his expression grim. Dr. Chen, we've confirmed your suspicions. The energy signature from the Isolari incident. We found its echo in the recent malfunctions. Someone's using the same weapon, just at a smaller scale. Sarah exchanged glances with Tar. This was the proof they'd been looking for. But it also meant they were dealing with something far more dangerous than simple technological rivalry. Someone within the alliance was systematically eliminating potential competitors. "The question is," Carr said, their voice modulating to a lower frequency that Sarah had learned indicated deep concern, "why start with relatively minor facilities? If their goal is to suppress human development, why not strike at your major research centers?" Sarah's blood ran cold as realization hit her. "Because they're not trying to stop us. They're studying us, testing how we respond, how we adapt." She quickly pulled up data from the affected facilities. "Look at this. After each malfunction, we didn't just repair the damage. We innovated, created new safety systems, developed better detection methods." "They're probing your defenses," Carr agreed. "Learning how humans react under pressure. It's a tactical assessment." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the building. Marcus's face reappeared on the screen. Panic evident. "Dr. Chen, we're detecting multiple energy signatures matching the weapon profile. They're targeting our orbital defense grid." Sarah's training kicked in. "Alert all stations. Begin emergency protocols." She turned to Qatar. "Will the Alliance help us?" Qatar's surface clouded. "The Council will need time to convene, to discuss. Time we don't have." Sarah finished. She activated her global command channel. "This is Dr. Chen. We are implementing Case Omega. I repeat, Case Omega is now active." Tar watched in fascination as humanity's response unfolded. Instead of falling into chaos, Earth's defenders executed a plan that seemed simultaneously improvised and meticulously prepared. Mining vessels repurposed their excavation shields into defensive screens. Civilian satellites reconfigured to form a backup communication network. Commercial ships began moving in patterns that seemed random, but somehow strengthened Earth's defensive position. "You anticipated this," Carr realized. "All of it." Sarah nodded, watching the tactical displays as humanity demonstrated why they had survived countless natural disasters and their own destructive tendencies. "We've spent our entire history preparing for worst-case scenarios. The question isn't whether we'll be attacked, but how we'll respond when we are." The first strikes came exactly where they expected, targeting their most vulnerable defense satellites. But instead of finding easy targets, the attackers encountered a defense network that had already adapted to their weapon's signature. Each attack was met with a different defense, each response providing data for the next evolution of their protective measures. "Remarkable," Tar whispered, watching as human ingenuity transformed a potentially devastating attack into a costly failure for their opponents. "You're not just surviving. You're learning from each attack, improving in real time." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "That's what they don't understand about humans. We don't just adapt to survive. We thrive on challenges. Each obstacle makes us stronger, more innovative." As the attack faltered, Sarah knew they had won this round. But she also knew this was just the beginning. Whoever was behind this would be back, with new tactics, new weapons, and humanity would be ready, not just to defend, but to uncover the truth about who was trying to suppress emerging civilizations. "Qatar," she said, turning to her alien colleague, "I think it's time we took a more active role in alliance politics. Someone's playing a very dangerous game, and they just showed their hand." The crystalline alien surface shimmered with what Sarah had come to recognize as determination. "Agreed. But be careful, Dr. Chen. You're not just dealing with individuals now. You're challenging a system that's existed for millennia." "Good," Sarah replied, already planning their next move. "It's about time someone did." Human ingenuity. In the aftermath of the orbital attack, the Meridian Alliance Council chambers buzzed with tension. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the assembled representatives of 27 spacefaring civilizations, her calm demeanor masking her internal fury. Behind her, displayed on the chamber's massive holographic screens, played footage of Earth's unconventional defense. "As you can see," Sarah said, her voice carrying through the vast chamber, "humanity didn't just survive the attack. We identified the weapon's signature, adapted our defenses, and preserved our orbital infrastructure, all without any advanced Alliance technology. The Primarch of the Council, a towering being of pure energy contained within an ancient environmental suit, leaned forward. Explain how a species at your development level managed to counter weapons that have defeated far more advanced civilizations. Sarah gestured, and the display shifted to show Earth's mining vessels forming an improvised defense grid. We call it lateral thinking. When you can't match your opponent's strength, you find another way. Our mining shields weren't designed for combat, but their frequency modulation capability made them perfect for disrupting the attack patterns. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Qatar, standing at their designated position, noted the mix of admiration and concern in the reactions. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. And this, the Primarch indicated a new image, showing civilian communications satellites reconfiguring themselves into a backup network. This level of adaptation was not predicted by any of our assessment models. That's because your models assume linear technological development. Sarah replied, humanity doesn't work that way. We develop the technology we need when we need it, often skipping what others consider necessary steps. A representative from the mechanoid consensus raised an objection. Such erratic development patterns are dangerous. They lead to instability, to chaos, to innovation. Sarah interrupted. She pulled up new data, showing the modifications Earth's engineers had made during the attack. While your weapons were targeting our defense grid, we weren't just defending. We were learning, improving, creating new technologies based on what we observed. The chamber erupted in shocked discussions. Sarah caught Qatar's subtle gesture, a warning. She was pushing too hard, too fast. But she couldn't stop now. Someone within the Alliance has been systematically eliminating promising civilizations, she continued, her voice cutting through the chaos. The same weapon signature that attacked Earth was present at the Isolari incident, the Nexuri catastrophe, and the Veth plague. We can prove it. Silence fell, heavy and threatening. Sarah felt the weight of ancient eyes upon her, some curious, others hostile. She activated her final piece of evidence, a complex data analysis showing the energy patterns linking all the accidents. Impossible, the mechanoid representative declared. No species at your level could detect, let alone analyze, such sophisticated energy signatures. Sarah smiled. We didn't need to fully understand the technology to recognize the pattern. Sometimes, looking at a problem from a simpler perspective reveals what complexity obscures. Before the council could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. A massive hologram materialized, showing a fleet of unknown ships emerging from hyperspace near Earth's solar system. It seems, the Primarch observed, that whoever is responsible for these attacks has decided to take more direct action. Sarah's quantum communicator buzzed with an urgent message from Marcus. Dr. Chen, they're using some kind of advanced stealth technology. Our conventional sensors can't get a lock. She allowed herself a grim smile. Activate Protocol Prometheus. The holographic display shifted, showing Earth's response. Instead of relying on traditional military vessels, the defense fleet consisted primarily of modified civilian ships. Mining vessels, research stations, even weather monitoring satellites began moving in precise patterns. What are they doing? The Primarch asked, genuine curiosity in their energy patterns. Something uniquely human, Sarah replied. We're using our knowledge of ancient Earth naval warfare. When you can't detect your enemy directly, you create a net. Each vessel is carrying simple pressure sensors, the kind we use to detect underwater movement. In space, they detect gravitational disturbances. The Council watched in amazement as Earth's improvised detection grid illuminated the positions of the stealth fleet. The attackers, suddenly visible, found themselves trapped in a web of overlapping fields, their advanced technology rendered useless by primitive but clever solutions. Fascinating, Qatar commented. You turned the varied void of space into your sensor array. The attacking fleet, realizing their stealth advantage was lost, began to retreat. But Sarah wasn't finished. Marcus, implement Phase 2. The civilian vessels released clouds of what appeared to be debris. As the stealth ships attempted to navigate through it, their shields flickered and failed. Simple metal shavings, Sarah explained to the stunned council. Charged with a minimal electrical current, when they contact advanced energy shields, they create a cascading feedback loop. Another example of primitive technology solving a complex problem. The Primarch raised their hand, silencing the chamber. Dr. Chen, you have demonstrated not only your species' ability to defend itself, but also its capacity for turning seemingly primitive solutions into powerful advantages. The question remains, what do you intend to do with this capability? Sarah straightened, her expression resolute. We intend to find out who's behind these attacks, not just against Earth, but against all emerging civilizations. And we intend to stop them, not through superior technology or overwhelming force, but through human ingenuity and determination. Tar stepped forward. I move to grant humanity full investigative authority in this matter. Their unique perspective may be exactly what we need to uncover this conspiracy. The council chamber erupted in debate, but Sarah barely heard it. She was already planning their next move. Whoever was trying to suppress emerging civilizations had just learned a crucial lesson about humanity. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective, and underestimating humans was a dangerous mistake. The Alliance divided. The ancient halls of the Meridian Archive held secrets spanning millennia. Dr. Sarah Chen walked its crystalline corridors beside Qatar, their footsteps echoing in the vast space. After 3 months of investigation, they had finally gained access to the sealed records of previous technological accidents involving emerging civilizations. According to official records, Qatar said, their crystalline form pulsing with subdued light. This section hasn't been accessed in over 500 years. They paused before a towering data crystal. Strange, considering it contains vital information about civilizational development patterns. Sarah ran her hand over the crystal surface, watching as it responded to her touch. Not strange at all, if you're trying to hide something. She pulled up the first set of records, and her eyes widened. Qatar, look at this. The Isolari weren't the first civilization to discover energy manipulation techniques. There were others. The records revealed a pattern spanning thousands of years. Every few centuries, a species would develop unique technological approaches that deviated from the Alliance's prescribed path. Each time, that civilization suffered a catastrophic accident shortly after their breakthrough. The consensus was right about one thing, Sarah muttered. There is a pattern to technological development. But it's not natural. It's enforced. Before Qatar could respond, Sarah's quantum communicator activated. Marcus's holographic form appeared, his expression urgent. Dr. Chen, we've detected unusual activity in the Council. Multiple members have called for an emergency session. They're voting on whether to revoke humanity's investigative authority. Sarah exchanged glances with Qatar. They're moving faster than we expected. How long? The session begins in 1 hour. Long enough, Sarah said, already downloading critical data. Marcus, implement Protocol Cassandra and contact our allies in the Alliance. It's time to show our hand. The council chamber was packed when Sarah arrived. The Primarch's energy form crackled with barely contained tension as various factions argued amongst themselves. The division was clear: younger species and progressive ancient civilizations on one side, conservative powers on the other. Dr. Chen, the Primarch announced, their voice cutting through the chaos. Serious concerns have been raised about humanity's methods and motives. Some believe your investigation is causing unnecessary instability within the Alliance. Sarah stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. Interesting timing. We just gained access to the sealed archives, and suddenly there's a motion to end our investigation. She activated a holographic display, showing the pattern of suppressed civilizations. The instability isn't coming from our investigation. It's coming from centuries of systematic suppression. The mechanoid representative rose. These allegations are baseless. The Alliance has always fostered technological development along prescribed paths, Sarah interrupted. Paths that ensure no emerging civilization develops technologies that might challenge the established order. She turned to address the entire chamber. But that's not the worst part. Show them. Tar. Tar stepped forward, projecting data from their crystalline form. These records show that the suppression wasn't just about maintaining order. It was about preventing the emergence of what they called divergent technologies, innovations that could fundamentally change the balance of power in the galaxy. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs as Qatar displayed evidence of technologies that had been systematically erased from history. Innovations that could have transformed energy production, space travel, even the nature of consciousness itself. This is why humanity frightens you, Sarah continued. We don't follow your prescribed paths. We find solutions you never considered. And we're not the only ones. Every civilization you've suppressed had the potential to introduce new ideas, new ways of thinking. The Primarch's energy form fluctuated. These accusations are extremely serious. If true, an alarm cut through the chamber. Marcus's voice came through the emergency channel. Multiple ships appearing in systems across Alliance space. They're targeting research facilities, colonies, anything showing signs of technological innovation. Sarah's expression hardened. They're not just targeting Earth anymore. They're going after everyone who supported our investigation. She turned to the Council. This is your choice. Stand together against those who would suppress progress, or watch as everything you've built crumbles under the weight of your own fear. The chamber descended into chaos as representatives argued, threatened, and pleaded. But Sarah noticed something changing. Younger species were standing together, joined by progressive members of the elder races. Even some conservative powers, seeing the scope of the threat, began shifting their position. Qatar moved closer to Sarah. You knew this would happen. You knew exposing the truth would force them to act openly. Sarah nodded. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our adaptability. It's our ability to inspire others to stand up against oppression. She activated her command channel. Marcus, begin coordinating with our allies. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every species that's ever been told to stay in their place. As the Alliance fractured and reformed around them, Sarah realized they had crossed a point of no return. The shadow organization that had suppressed progress for millennia was finally emerging into the light, forced to act openly against not just humanity, but a coalition of civilizations united by a shared desire for true progress. The final battle wouldn't be won with weapons or technology. It would be won by species standing together, sharing their unique perspectives and innovations, proving that diversity of thought wasn't a threat. It was the greatest strength any civilization could possess. A new dawn. The battle for the future of galactic civilization wasn't fought with massive fleets or superweapons. Instead, it unfolded across thousands of systems simultaneously as the Shadow Organization, now calling itself the Preservers, attempted to maintain their millennia-old control through carefully orchestrated chaos. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in Earth's new Combined Operations Center, watching as reports flooded in from across Alliance space. The holographic display showed hundreds of smaller conflicts, each representing a civilization fighting back against oppression. They're targeting communication hubs first, Tar observed, their crystalline form reflecting the emergency lights, trying to isolate resistance elements from each other. Sarah smiled. Exactly as we expected. Marcus, activate the quantum mesh. Across the galaxy, seemingly primitive communication satellites, built using human designs shared with allied species, activated, while the Preservers focused on destroying advanced Alliance communication networks. These simple devices, based on Earth's century-old satellite technology, but modified with modern innovations, created an unbreakable web of communication. Sometimes, Sarah said, watching the resistance forces coordinate through the backup network, the best solution isn't the most advanced one. The Primarch's energy form materialized in the operations center. The preservers have revealed themselves fully. Their leader was among us all along, the archive keeper, guardian of technological knowledge for over 10,000 years. Of course, Qatar's surface rippled with realization. Who better to suppress innovation than the one controlling access to historical knowledge? The archive keeper's message was broadcasting across all frequencies. For millennia, we have guided civilization along safe, predictable paths. We have prevented the chaos of unrestricted innovation. Humanity's interference threatens everything we have built. They must be stopped, along with any who support their dangerous ideas. Sarah activated the Global Response Channel. This is Dr. Sarah Chen, speaking to every free species in the galaxy. The preservers believe that progress must be controlled, that innovation must follow their prescribed paths. They're wrong. Look around you. Look at what we've accomplished by working together, by sharing our unique perspectives. Across Alliance space, the evidence was undeniable. Human mining techniques combined with crystalline energy manipulation had created unbreakable defense shields. Mechanoid logic systems merged with Earth's lateral thinking algorithms were predicting and countering preserver attacks with unprecedented accuracy. Every species' unique approach added another layer of strength to their combined resistance. The Archive Keepers' forces launched their master stroke, a weapon designed to disable all advanced technology, meant to force civilization back to a more manageable level. But they hadn't counted on humanity's peculiar talent for finding workarounds. They expect us to fight technology with technology, Sarah announced to the United Resistance. So let's show them something different. Implement Protocol Babel. Across the galaxy, resistance forces switched to seemingly primitive but incredibly effective methods of warfare. Ships using simple kinetic weapons instead of energy beams. Communication through light signals and gravitational waves rather than quantum networks. Combat strategies inspired by ancient Earth military tactics, adapted for space warfare. The Preserver's weapon, designed to target advanced technology, found itself useless against solutions so simple they were brilliant. Their carefully maintained order began to crumble as species after species demonstrated that true progress couldn't be contained by artificial restrictions. You don't understand what you're doing, the Archive Keeper's voice rang out, tinged with desperation. Without control, without guidance, civilization will collapse into chaos. No, Sarah responded, her voice carrying across the quantum mesh to every listening being. What you call chaos, we call growth. What you see as dangerous deviation, we recognize as essential innovation. Every species has something unique to contribute. That's not a weakness. It's the greatest strength we could ever have. The final confrontation came not in battle, but in understanding. As the Preserver's forces found themselves outmaneuvered by tactics they couldn't predict and technologies they couldn't disable, more of their own members began to question their fundamental assumptions. Tar addressed the Alliance Council, their crystalline form glowing with conviction. For too long, we believed that progress must follow a single path. Humanity showed us that there are countless paths to advancement, each valuable, each necessary. The Archive Keeper, their power finally broken, stood before the Council. How can you be certain this path won't lead to destruction? We can't, Sarah answered honestly. But we can be certain that suppressing innovation, limiting perspectives, and forcing everyone to follow the same path will definitely lead to stagnation. The future isn't about control, it's about collaboration. In the days that followed, the Alliance underwent a transformation. The archives were open to all species, allowing civilizations to learn from both successes and failures of the past. Research facilities became collaborative spaces where different species could combine their unique approaches to solve common problems. Sarah stood with Qatar in the newly established Innovation Exchange, watching representatives from dozens of species sharing ideas freely for the first time in millennia. You know, Qatar observed, when we first detected Earth's response to our beacon, we never imagined it would lead to this. Sarah watched as a young mechanoid engineer excitedly explained a new theory to a group of diverse species, each adding their own perspective to refine and improve the concept. That's the beauty of it. True progress isn't about following a predetermined path. It's about having the courage to forge new ones together. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where diversity of thought wasn't just accepted but celebrated. Humanity's gift to the Alliance wasn't superior technology or military might. It was the simple yet powerful idea that every perspective, every unique approach, had value. As Sarah prepared to return to Earth, she received one final message from the Primarch. For millennia, we thought we were preserving civilization. You showed us we were only preserving our limitations. The true guardians of progress are those who dare to think differently. The silent guardian wasn't a weapon or a shield. It was the simple truth that the greatest strength of any civilization lies in its ability to embrace new ideas, to learn from different perspectives, and to face the unknown not with fear, but with curiosity and courage. As the stars shone above Earth, humanity had earned its place among them, not by following the path laid out by others, but by showing that every path, every perspective, led to the same glorious destination, forward, together, into an unlimited future.